Good morning, Year 5. I want to start by showing you Bryn's draft paragraph from last week. A really lovely example of using past tense, using the first person. And what I really like is how Bryn has used a bit of show not tell, which we're going to come on later, particularly in the last sentence where he's put, my bones were trembling, which I really like. Rather than just saying that he was worried or scared or frightened, he's given us a little bit more for the reader to imagine. So well done, Bryn. Okay, so we are now on to the next part of our Tim Peake diary writing lessons. So today, being Monday, tomorrow, and then the day after, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we are going to be using our 3 draft paragraphs, 1 per day, and using some of our Year 5 skills, which we'll cover in the lessons, to improve them. So if we cast our minds back to Wednesday of last week, I came up with my first paragraph as a draft, and here it is on the screen now. So I'm just going to read it to you just as a refresher. I remember feelings of anxiety before launch, but excitement took over when the noise and power kicked in like a Formula One car. After takeoff, I saw the blackness of the Pacific Ocean and the moonlight glimmering. Nothing compared to the phenomenal speed of the rocket until it stopped violently, going from 4G to 0G in 1 second. Then it went eerily quiet because we were floating and the sunlight flooded in. I looked back to see the Earth looking like a magnificent green and blue jewel. Right, the aim of today's lesson with your own paragraph 1 draft is to apply the chili challenges, which I'm going to go through in a moment, and improve upon the draft that we wrote first time. So we've all got a basic paragraph to work from. That's the most important thing. And now, as part of the writing process, we're going to improve upon it. So what I'm going to do today, and these chilies are going to be the same tomorrow and Wednesday as well, I'm going to go through each chili and demonstrate on the screen what I am expecting that to look like in your writing. And then later in the week, Thursday and Friday, we're then going to focus specifically on vocabulary on one of those days. And then on the other one, we're going to then be looking at some sentence construction as well. So we'll be looking at how we can use some skills that we've done with Miss Warren recently, looking at parenthesis, relative clauses, can we use a colon, different ways to add variety and meaning to the different paragraphs, varying the structures as we go. But for today, tomorrow and Wednesday, we're all about improving our original draft paragraphs. So chili 1. Chili 1 is crucial. Chili 1 is to write in first person and the past tense. So I've got one of my sentences from my draft. It's the first sentence at the end. It says, I looked back to see the Earth looking like a magnificent green and blue jewel. Now, if we are using the past tense and we're writing in a first person, we should be able to spot a few things. So, for example, let's start with the first person. We've mentioned this last week, and all the drafts that have been sent in, I think everybody managed to do that, but we don't want to lose sight of it. So, first person, here's what I'm looking for. I, because remember, you in this writing are Tim Peake. You have been to the space station. You have had those experiences as if you were Tim. So I expect to see I. Now, past tense. This is the one that I really want to just draw a little bit more attention to. So I'm just going to change colour because why not? So past tense there. Now, where is the past tense in this sentence? I looked back to see the Earth looking like a magnificent green and blue jewel. Pause the video, have that discussion. Where am I showing that this sentence is written in the past, about something in the past? Okay, the key is thinking about the actions that Tim is talking about, things that he has already done. Now, the word that I want you to pull out here is looked. Tim has already done this. He's already looked back to see the Earth, and then he adds some description about it, which is the second half of the sentence. So I looked. I'm going to draw a bit more attention to the ending of that word, ed. So the verb, the action is to look. But if he's already done it, it's in the past, which means we need the ed ending. So looked. It's not I looking back, I look back. It's I looked back. So have a look through your sentences once you've improved your paragraph today and just check, Is that something that Tim's already done? How have I shown that he's already done it? Look at that ending, really important. And that needs to be the same all the way through. We can't skip into present tense. We've got to keep it in the past. That is a very important diary feature. I looked back. Moving on. Chili 2. Now, the word adverbials has been a point of some discussion recently, so I'm just going to revisit what we mean by adverbials in our curriculum. Now, an adverbial is a word or phrase that can be used like an adverb, so we're using it to add detail or information about the verb. So verb is an action, and we want to add information about the actions that Tim did during his time going to space and back. So it's all about adding information, helping the reader visualize in their head what it is that Tim experienced. And we can do that in a few ways with adverbials. So here are some examples, because an adverbial can explain how something happened, where it happened, when it happened, how often something happened. So if you look at these ones here, we've got, we met by the train station. The action is met, that's something that it did. Where did this action take place? By the train station. So that is the adverbial there, the by the train station. Blue is apparently not a helpful colour there. I'll just see if I can change that. Go back into full screen. Highlighting blue text with a blue pen is not going to do us much good. Let's try yellow. So where did we meet? By, that's better, by the train station. Next one, he stood and waited. So he stood and waited, two actions. Adverbial, tell us more about this action. Under the clock. So where did the action happen? Under the clock. The next one, the event will happen in June. So the action is about, is this will be doing something. The adverbial tells us when this happened, in June. She danced all night long. Dance is the action. Tell the reader more. With the adverbial, how long did she dance for? All night long. And then the last example, he ate his breakfast. So again, ate is that verb. It is the action. It's what he did. Tell us more about this action. He ate it before sunrise. And not necessarily these specific ones, but this is what I want to add in for Chili 2. Some bit more information about some of the actions that Tim has already carried out. So, Year 5, you might recognise this. I think what I'll try and do, if you check your emails, I'll get this sent out to you via email as well, so you can see it at your own leisure, or just pause the screen. But what I've got on here are some examples of adverbials. Now, they can be put at the front of the sentence, which is why they're sometimes called fronted adverbials, but we can also use them in the middle or at the end, as we've just seen. So we've got adverbials of time, telling us when something happens. Adverbials of frequency, telling us how often the action happens. Adverbials of place, they can tell us where this action was. Adverbials of manner, telling us how this action was carried out. And even we've also got possibility, so how likely this action was occurring, or what state the person who's doing the action was in as this action was occurring. So I'm going to try and use some of these in my next paragraph. So let's have a look where we might be able to do that. So here is my paragraph again. So it says, I remember feelings of anxiety before launch, but excitement took over when the noise and power kicked in like a Formula 1 car. So for Chili 2, I might not put adverbials in every sentence, but I'm thinking I'm going to probably put one in at the start here. Now, adverbial of time seems appropriate, so if I just go back a screen, when, because it's before launch, or I could just rearrange that sentence. If I put before launch, that could be my adverbial. The action is remembering. When did this memory happen? Before launch. So now I'm changing it to before launch. I remember feelings of anxiety, comma, but excitement took over when the noise and power kicked in like a Formula 1 car. Next sentence I've got, after takeoff, I saw the blackness of the Pacific and the moonlight glimmering. Now, this one I'm thinking an adverbial of place to describe this. I'll see if I can put it in before blackness. So let's go back to see that. Where? Above the clouds? In the distance? Between the sea and the sky? Seems like a possible one. Let's see if that fits. Between the sea and the sky. After takeoff. Let's see if I can get that to work for me. After takeoff. There we go. After takeoff, keep saying that. Between the sea and the sky, I saw the blackness of the Pacific Ocean and the moonlight glimmering. Oh, that's better. Bit of extra description. So I've got an adverbial of place there. Well, the next sentence. Nothing compared to the phenomenal speed of the rocket until it stopped violently going from 4G to 0G in 1 second. I think that's okay. Let's have a look if there's anything that I could add in. Let's think back. If we're talking about speed, maybe I want to use an adverb of manner. Curiously, would that fit? Curiously, nothing compared to the phenomenal speed of the rocket. That does work for me. So let's put that in at the beginning. So curiously, comma, because we put that in after adverb. Curiously, nothing compared to the phenomenal speed of the rocket until it stopped violently going from 4G to 0G in 1 second. And then I'm going to use an adverbial of time. Instead of just then it went quiet, I want it to be a little bit more sort of urgent. So let's have a look at, is there an adverbial of time that makes me think something happened all of a sudden? All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye. I think I'm going to go with in the blink of an eye. So in the blink of an eye, it went eerily quiet because we were floating and the sunlight flooded in. Now, I know there's other things to edit in that sentence, but this is the start. And then I think to finish off with, I look back to see the earth. How did he look back? Let's go apprehensively, because you might be a little bit unsure. Apprehensively looked back to see the earth looking like a magnificent group. Good. And maybe because it's the last line of the paragraph, I might put finally, comma, I apprehensively look back to the earth looking like a magnificent green and blue jewel. Right. That is how I would be thinking about Chile 2. And then Chile 3, apply language of show, not tell. So, just saw this picture a moment ago. I clicked on the wrong thing temporarily. Right. So I've got in this sentence feelings of anxiety, and I've also got excitement. Now, I don't want to just say to the reader, I was anxious, I was nervous, I was excited. That's telling. We want to show the reader what that looks like, to help them imagine. So instead of saying I remember feelings of anxiety, I might say, I'm going to rewrite that completely. So before launch, how do we show being nervous and anxious? Before launch, I could not stop biting my nails. However, let's improve that conjunction. However, no, I like this picture because it made me smile. However, when you're excited, your eyes light up. You can't sit still. You got that sort of energy flowing through you. So before launch, I could not stop biting my nails. However, my eyes lit up when the noise and power kicked in like a Formula 1 car. So that's better. I still think I could add more, but now I've added in some show not tell language instead. So I'll just read that sentence back. Before launch I could not stop biting my nails. However, my eyes lit up when the noise and power kicked in like a Formula 1 car. Okay, so now it's your turn, year 5. This is the point of the video where I want you to apply those chilies 1, 2 and 3, and then once you've had a go, move on with the video and you can have a look at my final example. Okay, year 5, hopefully you've had a go at improving your first draft paragraph, looking at the 3 chilies. Here is my edited paragraph. Not perfect yet, but I'll come back to that in a second, but I'm going to read it to you as an example. Before launch, I could not stop biting my nails. However, my eyes lit up when the noise and power kicked in like a Formula 1 car. After takeoff, between the sea and the sky, I saw the blackness of the Pacific Ocean and the moonlight glimmering. Curiously, nothing compared to the phenomenal speed of the rocket until it stopped violently, going from 4G to 0G in 1 second. In the blink of an eye, it went eerily quiet because we were floating and the sunlight flooded in. Finally, I apprehensively looked back to see the Earth looking like a magnificent green and blue jewel. Now, for the chili 1, 2 and 3, they are all in that paragraph, but as I'm reading it out, I'm thinking there's other opportunities that I'll catch later in the week on Thursday and Friday. For example, I think I can add some more of Tim's feelings with the description of the ocean and the moonlight, and definitely I might add a simile or a metaphor later on when we're looking at vocabulary on Thursday at the part when he mentions floating and the sunlight flooded in. But for today, this is what I want you to have a go at. Remember to send them into the year 5 email, and best of luck. Okay.